Hello, you guys, and a very, very warm welcome to this Mind Body Connection Masterclass. These next 40 to 50 minutes are going to be super eye opening with a lot of aha moments, a lot of insights, and you're going to leave with a completely different perspective of what health looks like, of what well being looks like. And so, before we get started, I just wanted to take a minute to ground in. So, wherever you are watching this from, can we just close our eyes for a second? Unless, of course, you're driving. Let's just take a deep breath in and close your eyes. And a deep breath out. And a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. And as you start to feel more present, I just want to try, I want you to try and tune in to your heart space and ask yourself, why did you sign up for this? What exactly were you looking for? Was it just curiosity? You just wanted to learn something new? Or are you struggling with your own health? Or you want to help others get more healthier and enjoy life to the fullest? So, whatever your why is, let's just become aware and tune into it. And once you have a brief idea of what it is, let's come back, open our eyes. Welcome back. So, whatever your why is, the one common thing that brings us all together today is this knowing that the mind and the body are one, and that there's more to health and well being than we've been told, right? There's this unshakable knowing that I can't really separate these two entities, they operate as one. And so, if something is going on with me on a psychological level, my body will be affected physiologically as well, and vice versa. If something is going on with me on a physiological level, be it some pain or some sort of chronic illness or a cold, whatever it is going to affect me on a psychological level as well. You just can't separate the two, which means that even if I am supposed to heal a certain thing, whether it be physical or mental, I need to take the other thing into consideration. I need to also deal with that other thing, whether it be the mind or the body, to really deal with things and look at things from a holistic perspective. Okay, so that is basically what the essence of today's masterclass is going to be. So, a quick introduction before we dive into the very interesting material that we have. And also stay there because I'm going to have a very special gift, a special surprise towards the end of the course. So, you're going to want to stay till the end to really know what that is. Um, okay, so a little about me. I am Aditi Goyal. I have done my health psychology master's from London, and I'm also a Heal Your Life facilitator, which is basically a certification that allows me to conduct workshops based on Louise Hay's work. So, if you're familiar with her work, it's great. It's one of the most transformative, life-changing um, books and workshops that she's created. And I'm also a DMT practitioner, which is dance movement therapy, which connects really well with mind body. But anyway, I don't want to go into too much of the certification bit, but I do want to go into how I really got started in this whole mind body field. And it actually comes from a personal story, a personal experience, where I had asthma as a child. And in spite of trying all different things and all different therapies and medicines, nothing really worked. I was still living under a lot of restrictions about what to eat, what not to eat, where to go, where not to go, whether I can play or not. And, all of those things just surrounded me. And very fortunately, I came across a book called The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. And then later another book which was called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, which basically said the essence of which was that it's in the mind, right? That whatever is showing up in your body, whatever patterns and symptoms and issues are showing up in your body, is sort of a mirror. It's a reflection of what's going on psychologically or mentally or emotionally, right? And that was just a big shift from moving from that victim state of, why is this happening to me? Because I was in a victim state for a very long time, as a child, having all those restrictions and having nothing really work out, and the doctor telling you that if you live with this for the rest of your life will by will naturally put you in that victim state where I'm just like, why is this happening to me? Why can't I live a normal healthy life? And but the book and that insight just shifted me from that victim state to someone who felt more empowered, as to, what, this is probably in my hands, and I can make a difference. I can probably change things. And the very important thing to note about this is that this is not about blame, right? Luckily, I did not see this as blame, as to, there's something wrong with my thoughts. This is why I'm facing this, and I'm just doomed and I'm just going to live with this forever. Because that's again going to make you stuck in the victim state. What we want to do is to see the empowerment that comes with it. That, okay, if thoughts are creating this, or if my mind has so much power over my body, where everything that's going on in my mind is constantly monitored by the cells in my body, that means that I can change my thoughts, right? Because that is something that is absolutely in my hands. So it's a really empowering thing to know that your mind and body are connected, and then you can really change your thoughts. You can change how you think and how you feel, which will also change your physiological state. So that is again what the essence of this whole mind body connection is, that I want to bring to you, where we move from a state of I am a victim, or this is just what I'm born with, or this is just what I'm supposed to live with for the rest of my life, to someone who feels that, I can change things. Things can get better and I can make an effort and make a difference. Okay. So that is a little bit about me, and that's how I just got into this whole field of mind, body, and psychology, and all of these things. And I'm super fortunate for having that whole experience. So that's a little about me. Now, if you are wondering whether you are in the right place, you've heard all about me and all of that, but you're wondering if this is really for you and you want to really continue watching ahead. This is absolutely great for you if you've ever thought any of these things. So if you've ever thought that, somewhere that your emotions are affecting your body, that every time you feel anger, every time you feel anxiety, things are happening in your body on a physiological level, but you don't really know how to fix it. You don't know what to really do with it. You're in the right place. Or if you've thought that you really just want to learn easy tools that you can use every day to change how you feel in your mind and body, just super easy, quick things in your toolbox that can transform your health and well-being. Or that you want to help your clients better. So if you're in a healthcare field, whether you are a physiotherapist or a doctor or a physician or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, whoever it is, but you're somewhere in the healthcare field and you have this desire to make things a little more holistic and factor in their emotions and their mind, that's exactly what we're going to do. Or if you just want to understand what the symptoms of your body mean. So this is just something that I really love, and sometimes it gets a little obsessive, to the point where I'm just going to open the book where there's this list of the A to Z things of the symptoms and what it represents, and it's just right there right next to my bed, and every time I have a symptom in my body, I would just open and see, okay, what does this mean? Just to know what's going on in my mind, what's going on with me psychologically. So if that is something that really excites you, or you're just curious to know what your back pain means, why is it showing up, um, that's also something we're going to discuss. Or if you're curious about how stress impacts health and if genes really matter, so genes are um, a super interesting topic for me, where we go into this whole field of epigenetics, which is basically the idea that your genes don't control you. Your genes are there. They are like an instruction that's given, but it's not a necessity that they come into play. And whether they come into play or not, which is whether they are expressed or not, depends on your lifestyle. Your lifestyle being your thoughts, your emotions, your diet, your exercise, all of it. So this is something that we go really deep in the mind body connection course that I've created, and we really look at how we can use this knowledge to improve health and to again get out of that victim state of I'm destined to live like this, um, to someone who can change things. Okay. And the last one, if you believe in prevention over cure, I am a big, big, big believer in prevention over cure. And prevention does not get too much of credit, because you can't really measure how much you're able to prevent something. You can measure how much you're able to heal something. So, like, okay, I have a back pain. I went and did that and it worked and I'm cured of my back pain and this works. But how do you measure something that is preventative, right? So, because it's just preventing the very thing from happening. But big believer in prevention over cure. Why not tackle things at the very beginning, or not even tackle things, just prevent things, live a very super healthy, joyful, vital life, because it takes a lot less than actually going into the whole healing process and taking the cure approach. Okay, so with that, let's dive in. So how many of y'all here think that for a healthy heart, so for a healthy cardiovascular health, diet and exercise are the two main components? Yeah. So me too. Yeah, I thought that for the longest time, that of course, it's just what we've been taught, that to have a healthy heart, have a good diet, low fat diet, low cholesterol diet, and get moving, get some exercise, right? But actually, I came across this whole thing and it just completely, it was like oh my God, wow, I can't believe this. And this was basically a study that said that, your heart responds much better to love and connection and joy than any medicine or any sort of workout. And people with a good social life, a good, strong, healthy bond with friends, with family, they are much more likely to have a stronger cardiovascular health. So connection is not just something we enjoy, it's not just for fun, it's actually really important for your physical health. And there was this whole study conducted in this one specific area, in one specific small town called Roseto. And I don't want to get too much into it because it's a whole big story. But essentially, these people had the worst diets. They had diets full of oil, of fats, of they smoked a lot. They didn't move too much, and they still had the healthiest cardiovascular health of everyone in and around that country. They lived the longest. They had no illness as such. They just died simply out of old age. And the reason was that they lived in very strong communities. They lived in very strong knit communities where they would have dinners together, they would have lunch together. Everyone would show up at each other's house and they would just deal with everything together. And this actually came on to be known as the Rossetto effect, where my heart is responding so well to feeling connected, to feeling like I belong, much more than it will respond to a good diet or a good exercise. By the way, this is not me encouraging you to forget about your diet, to forget about exercise, and just focus on connection. No, we want a holistic approach, right? We don't want to just be like, okay, I'm just going to focus on my bonds and I'm going to forget about my diet. No, the point is just this awareness that, yeah, while diet and exercise are important, something that we really miss out on is this component of connection. So we want to factor in that as well, not to subtract your diet and exercise. Okay, so connection can be really powerful, and it's again something we go much deeper into. It's one of the pillars of preventative health, and we go much deep into connection, what can you do about it, how it helps, and all of that. Okay, moving on. So I'm assuming that most of y'all here know a little bit about the placebo effect, right? It's something that most of us have heard about some or the other time. If you're somewhere in the field of healthcare or psychology, or you've heard about the placebo effect. So I'm not going to get too much into it, but it's basically the idea that I'm giving something inert, which means that I'm giving something which has no effect as such, like a sugar pill or a saline injection, which is just salt water, to a patient. And because they believe that this is the cure, because they believe that the sugar pill is medicine for them, they actually heal, right? They actually report feeling better, um, and they note an absence of the symptoms that they were trying to cure. So that is in very short terms the placebo effect. Okay, but what really put me in this very, oh my god, wow mode was something called a placebo surgery. Okay, so people actually underwent, of course it was a study, it was done a long while ago, it's not ethical anymore, but people underwent a fake surgery in their knees. Okay, which meant that they were given anesthesia, they were put in the operating theater, and the doctors just made the incisions, just the cuts on the surface of the skin, but didn't really do anything, didn't really do the surgery, just made the incision and then sealed it back up. But because of looking at that incision and being in the theater room, operation theater room, and just going through that whole process, the patients of course believe that they've undergone the surgery, right? And they actually reported the same pain relief as people who have had the real surgery. Like the difference in their symptoms and in their pain was the same as someone who's actually gone through the surgery, even though a whole lot of them actually didn't underwent anything, right? Their knees were the same as what it was, but because the mind believed that, okay, the surgery has happened, so that means that we can get better now. That means that we are going to get better now. Just proves that the mind is it's so damn powerful, right? It proves this ability of the mind to heal just through belief. Yeah. And very important for me to mention this is that this is not me disregarding the need for surgery and saying that, okay, let's put everyone into a fake operation theater and just do fake surgeries on them and let their mind believe that it's done. No, I'm not disregarding the need for surgery. Sometimes it's absolutely necessary, no doubt, but my point of discussing this thing is just to highlight the fact that belief can be so powerful, right? If something that has gone so far, some illness that has progressed so much that the doctors say that you need surgery, can be healed just because the mind now believes that, it's okay, it's all healed and it's all done, then why don't we use this whole phenomenon? We look into it, we figure out what's working, we figure out the components, and then use it in our daily life. Yeah. So this is really about using this phenomenon of the belief being super powerful and taking over even the role of a surgery, and using it outside the hospital setting in my own life and in my own circumstances, and not necessarily for something that is too chronic, say a knee surgery, or say some other very progressed chronic illness, but something as simple as a cold. Why can't I use that same thing for just healing my regular common cold, or just healing my back pain? Yeah. So we discussed this as well, where how do I use this placebo effect, and what are the components, why is it working, and how do I use it in my daily life. And one of the things is that we discuss is simply just using something that is, say something like a herbal tea, or something that your grandmother probably makes, something like a tea or a juice, and having that with this strong belief and intention. So before I'm drinking that, say I have a cold, and I asked my grandmom to make it, or I make it by myself, and before I drink it, I put that intention and that belief into it, that this is what is going to cure me. This juice or this tonic or this tea is just going to relax me completely, and it's going to completely heal my cold. And then drinking it with that belief, it works wonders. Okay, and this is just one of the things that we go into. There are so many different ways that you can use this placebo effect to your advantage right in your house, without going to a hospital or going for a study. Okay, so that is about the placebo effect and the placebo surgery. Like I said, the point of this is to use our beliefs to our advantage. Okay, and before we go into using positive beliefs, such as, this is what's going to heal me and all of that, we first have to really look at the other side of things, and look at the negative beliefs that we have constantly been repeating, that have been working against us all this time, right? And so many of us have these beliefs. Even I do, even after I have been in this field, and I know about this for so many years now. I know how powerful beliefs are, and I know that, it doesn't help me to believe negative things, but you just can't help it sometimes. You're in that environment, and you're constantly bombarded with media and your family saying things and all of those things, and it does form a belief. And it can get hard to really completely eradicate all negative beliefs, but at least we can start somewhere. We can start by eradicating at least one or two that are really negatively impacting our health without even us knowing. So a lot of us have these some beliefs like this, that I always get two colds a year, I just can't help it. Or whenever I eat an ice cream, I always get a headache. It's like I am declaring it. No matter what, if I eat an ice cream, I will get a headache. So obviously the body is going to respond with that. Just like when I believe that this is going to heal me, whether it's a sugar pill, because I believe that, oh, this is a medicine and it's going to heal me, it heals me. The same way, if I believe that the ice cream is going to give me a headache, I will get a headache, because the body simply works on belief. Whatever I'm saying in my mind, whatever I'm saying to myself or my thoughts, my cells are constantly monitoring it. They're constantly listening to it. Okay, and they just respond. They respond because they don't know what's true, what's not true. They only rely on your thoughts and your inner dialogue. So if I start saying that, okay, I'm healing, my cold is going away, or I am experiencing amazing health, my cells listen to that and respond to that. It's really as simple as that. Some other beliefs are, I'll never lose weight no matter what. or heart disease runs in the family and there's nothing I can do to avoid it, which is again a topic about genes and epigenetics, one of my favorites. I can't help it, obesity runs in the family, again, something to do with genes. Or my body is broken, it can't heal itself. Imagine telling yourself this: my body is broken, I can't heal. What are your cells going to respond to? The body being broken, the body not being able to heal, right? It's really as simple as that. We simply complicate it. We simply expect the body to respond with something different than what's going on here, which is absolutely not possible, right? The body and the mind have to be in alignment for things to really move smoothly. So, our job here is to basically reframe these beliefs so that we can support our bodies in the whole healing process, right? So, by having those positive beliefs, we can really just help smoothen and quicken the healing process. Okay. So the whole process of changing beliefs is actually a big one. It's not going to change overnight. But if you have the dedication and if you have that will that, what, no, I have to change it, it does happen. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes dedication, but it does work. And in fact, we do a deep dive into this beliefs where we look at all the different beliefs or all the different things that are going on in your mind with different aspects of your life. So, what's going on with my relationships? What's going on with my work life? What's going on with my relationship with money? Or what's going on with my family dynamics? Because all of those thoughts are also impacting your body, which is something that we will now get into. It's going to be a little deeper dive, um, the most exciting one. I love discussing that. So if you're ready, we're just gonna get started. If you want to just take a quick pause, a quick water break, just stretch a little bit, maybe you can do that, or we can just quickly get started. So, what if I told you that your body is actually a reflection of your inner world? Okay, so whatever is going on here with respect to family, with respect to relationships, health, money, success, whatever you're feeling and thinking internally, your body is just reflecting that to you through symptoms, pain, issues, diseases, all of that. So, whatever you're feeling on an emotional and mental level, if you're not aware of it and if you're suppressing it and suppressing it and suppressing it, and not really dealing with whatever you're going through, it is going to show up in the body. It is manifesting in the body as a physical illness, or a physical symptom, so that you can stop and listen and change things, right? So this is a little like abstract for someone who's not really heard this before, who's not really come across this idea. So but stay with me, it's going to make sense as we go into it. So the most basic example that I can give you is that, say someone is feeling super low, okay, or someone is depressed under a lot of stress and sadness and depression, is feeling super low. How would their bodies look like? It would probably look something like this, right? you know like I'm just like stooped down. I'm not able to like stand tall and straight and interact with the world. I'm just kind of closing and shutting myself off, so my shoulders drop, my back is a little rounded, and I'm just in this position because my body is reflecting what I am feeling and thinking on a regular basis, right? So, and to go deeper, this is something that I have really noticed with myself, is that I will always put on a few pounds of weight whenever I feel unsafe or I feel insecure in any way. Just automatically, I'll put on a few pounds even when my diet and my exercise stays the same. though the calorie in and out is just the same, but I put on a few pounds because I'm feeling unsafe. And the body's way to deal with that unsafety is to put on weight, because weight can act as a protective factor. Okay. It actually gets super interesting here. And let's take another example. I will also start having acne on my face where I don't feel confident, when I don't feel like myself. I feel a little, again, insecure, or I don't feel like I can really be myself completely. That will show up on my face with a little acne, which again makes me feel more unconfident, right? Another thing is that when I am worrying too much, or if I'm over analyzing things too much, I'm in this constant loop of overthinking and worrying and worrying and worrying. My stomach gives me trouble. So I'll have indigestion, and I'll just start feeling heavy and bloated here, and that's my stomach responding to my mental state being that of worry and fear. Okay, so your body is always communicating to you. Okay, now, and by the way, the things that I mentioned are sort of standard. So um, acne will usually mean that you are feeling a little underconfident or not safe to be yourself. Stomach troubles always mean fear or worry. We'll get into that in a little bit, where we discuss what each symptom can mean. But the point I'm trying to make here right now is that the body is always communicating. Okay, and the most important thing, the most interesting thing, is that all the different parts of the body resemble a particular thing. Okay, so head to toe. So I'm going to do a quick run through of what each of the different body parts and the different systems represent. But of course, I'm not going to be able to cover all of it. But I'll just run through whatever I can go ahead with. So the eyes are representative of what I see. Okay, not just what I see in my physical world, but also what I imagine. So even when I'm closing my eyes and imagining something, that is also affecting my eyes. So if what I'm imagining, or if what I'm seeing in my current reality is something that I don't like, something that I'm scared of, if I'm scared of my future, I am scared of what will happen to me in future, or if I'm living in an environment where I just don't like what I see, I hate the family dynamics that are going on, I hate the environment that we're living in, I hate the roads or the city, it will show up in my eyes, because they represent my ability to see and perceive life. Okay, so it's very connected if you think about it. In the same way, my ears are about my ability to listen. And this also includes my external world, which is what I'm hearing in my family, at my workplace, from my boss. But it's also my internal world in the form of my own inner dialogue. So if there is a situation where I don't want to hear what's going on in my life, internally or externally, the body just goes into, oh my god, shut up, I don't want to hear it. But because you can't say this to people, and you can't actually go and say this to others, the body is dealing with it by minimizing your capacity to hear, right? So it's a very smart mechanism that the body is working with, and it's actually working in your favor, even though we might think that, why is my body not healthy, why is it always showing up with all these symptoms? Yeah. Okay, so moving on, the neck is about my ability to see things from different perspectives, right? So if you think about it, the neck allows me to move and to see things from all different sides. So if I'm being too rigid in my mind, if I'm being too narrow minded, and I am not able to really see things from others' perspectives, My neck will show up with a lot of tightness and will stiffen up, and it will probably be painful as well, because it's just reflecting my internal reality, my internal world outside, right? So that I can stop and change things. And the stomach, as we discussed, is this hub of holding fear and worry. So if you are constantly obsessing about the future, you're scared about what's going to show up, it will come in the stomach as indigestion, as bloating, as any sort of gut issues. Which is why mindfulness has been proven to be a really good technique to improve your gut health, because it gets you in the present and it gets you out of that mode of fear and worry, right? Moving on to the legs. So the legs are about your ability to move forward, right? They allow us to move forward in life. And so if you are facing fear or uncertainty around moving ahead, you don't feel very safe and comfortable moving ahead, this will show up in your legs as some sort of pain or some sort of limping, something on those lines, because you're not feeling comfortable moving ahead. Okay. So this is just a very basic understanding, and this is a very overgeneralized version of things. If we go deep into what each body part means and what each system means and why it means that, it's this webinar will be more than 2 to 3 hours long. So we don't want to go too much into that. But that is what we do in the course, in the complete course, where there is an A to Z list of different emotions, different symptoms of the body and different illnesses, and their corresponding thought patterns, and what you can actually do to start changing those thought patterns so that it reflects in the body as better, improved health. Okay. But for now, this is just a basic overview of how different body parts resemble different things. Yeah. So the idea is that the body is always talking to you through symptoms, but are you listening? Right? And sometimes the body is going to whisper and sometimes it's going to shout. And I absolutely love this analogy because it just makes so much sense. So the body whispering means it's just letting you know, with that little pain in the shoulder, that little cold, that little discomfort and tightness in the body, that little symptoms, by showing those symptoms, the body is letting you know, hey, stop, something's not working. You need to stop and pay attention to what's going on inside, and you need to change something. You either need to change something in your reality, maybe take up a different job, maybe sit upright, maybe change this friend, maybe just stop talking to this person, or maybe take better care of your health. Whatever it is, the body is like, hey, stop, you need to pay attention and you need to change this because I'm not feeling my best, right? But what we do is we don't listen to the body. We suppress those symptoms and those little whispers with medicines, with maybe even just ignoring it, just being like, you know what, it's okay, it's not a big deal, or suppressing it with medicines. And then the body has no choice but to shout to get our attention. And how does it shout? It shouts with chronic illness, with things like diabetes, with cancer, with asthma, with all sorts of these chronic illnesses showing up in the body, because now there is no other way for the body to get your attention, right? But if you end up with a proper diagnosis of diabetes or of a heart disease, you have no option but to kind of deal with it, right? Even though the way we usually deal with it in this modern society is to go to a doctor and to get it fixed, to get the symptom fixed, but we never even question what the underlying cause behind the symptom is, right? Um, so we want to be able to listen to the body when it's whispering and stop those whispers. I mean, not even stop, just pay attention and take care of things when it's at that level, instead of letting it build up and go to that part where it's shouting and it's screaming to grab your attention. Yeah. So we always use this an analogy of a small child. So the body is just a small child that is trying to get your attention. Okay, when something is not working, it's trying to get your attention, like, hey, listen, this is not okay. And it's doing this through little symptoms, but you're not listening. So what option does the child have other than crying and screaming and being like, this is not working, you have to stop? You get the point. So start treating your body and the symptoms as a little child, and a super intelligent child who knows what's working, what's not, and you just have to be able to listen to him, to really change things and to get things going. Okay, so moving on. Let's look at some of the common symptoms that the body shows up and what they mean. Okay, now, like I said, there's a whole A to Z list of different symptoms, things like acne, asthma, cold, cancer, diabetes, back pain, um, foot issues, neck issues, throat issues. There is a whole lot of things, but we can't, of course, go into all of it. So we look at some of the common symptoms that most of us would have faced on some day or the other, and we look at what that means. Okay, so colds. Now, I really have this. I've really noticed this, that whenever I am feeling too overwhelmed, and it's usually with work where there are too many projects going on together, and so my mind is just too scattered and it's too overwhelmed, and there's some sort of confusion and a lot of mental chatter. Okay, I want to do this, I have to do that, and I have to go there, and I have to go do that. And whenever that happens for a long period of time, of course not just for a day, but say if it's going on for a week, I will end up with a cold, right? Because that's my body's way of telling me, hey, slow down. There's too much confusion, there's too much overwhelm, you can't handle this, slow down. Yeah. Back issues. This is one of the most interesting, most common ones that is usually seen. And this represents feeling unsupported and again overwhelmed. So the back is your support system, right? It's really just holding the entire body together. So if I'm feeling overburdened, if I'm feeling unsupported, overwhelmed, it's like all the responsibilities are really on me, and I'm like, just carrying it on my back. The back will start showing issues. And there's in fact also a breakdown of what it means if there is an upper back issue, or what it means if there's a lower back issue and a middle back issue. And the most common one, which is the lower back, usually means that there is some sort of a financial stress. Okay, so you're thinking too much about money, in the sense that, will I have enough? Will I be able to handle myself? I feel unsupported when it comes to money. I don't feel that there's going to be enough. I feel like I will have to keep working too hard, and I don't know how I'm going to pay my bills. And so there's this constant worry and stress around money, and that's when the lower back will start showing issues. Okay. um Moving on. Digestive issues, like we discussed, is holding on to a lot of fear and worry and catastrophizing, constantly obsessing about the future, and this inability to digest life. Okay, so to digest and assimilate life, and every new experience that comes up, it just makes me scared. It just makes me like, okay, now what's going to happen? Oh, okay, will I be okay? That sort of thing, where I'm not able to digest life, and I'm just constantly obsessing and worrying about my future, right? And reproductive issues. So the reproductive system of your body represents the masculine or the feminine principle, depending on whatever gender you are, right? So if you are a female, if you identify as a woman or a female, the reproductive part of your body is representative of that feminine energy, right? And same way, if you are a male, your reproductive part represents the masculine energy, the masculine principle in you. And if you're having issues with this area of the body, it is usually rejecting that feminine essence or rejecting the masculine essence, right? So there are so many women these days who are having PCOD issues, menstrual issues. There's this is so much of pain and stress around this very normal, healthy beautiful process of menstruation. And that is a lot because women are wanting to live like a man. They're wanting to live that hustle life and that constant go mode, and really they're not really honoring and resting when the body is asking them to do so. Okay, again, I can talk about this for hours, and I don't want to go too deep into this bit, but essentially, when I'm not accepting my feminine principles, the menstrual cycle will be showing issues, or the reproductive system will be showing issues. And if I'm not accepting the masculine principles, then uh, my reproductive issues will come up as a man. Okay. So the point is that we don't want to get scared with this, right? We don't want to learn about these things and get scared. But the idea that I'm trying to portray here is that suppressed emotions, right, and mental patterns that have been going on for months and years, when not dealt with, show up in the body, right? It's not like, okay, morning I'm feeling too confused, I'm feeling too scattered, and I'm feeling too overwhelmed, evening I'll get a cold. It's not like that, right? It's like if it's constantly going on for weeks without any sort of relaxation, it's just constantly going on, that is when it shows up, right? And fear and worry also. So say if there's something going on in my life which is creating fear, it's going on for a week, say, and it's creating fear, but I'm aware of it, I'm dealing with it, I am using whatever tools I have, I'm talking to a friend, I'm dealing with that fear and I'm with that worry, it's not necessarily going to show up in the body. But if I keep suppressing this fear and this worry, and I don't deal with it, and I don't process it, that is when it comes up in the body, right? Because the body's role is just to let you know, hey, this is what we're feeling, you need to deal with this. And if you're already dealing with it the best way you can, then it's not necessarily going to show up in your body unless it's just a very long standing pattern, right? So this is essentially what the language of the body is. And I really really love discussing this. It's just one of my favorite topics, because it gives so much insight into, wow, whatever is going on in my body is actually just a reflection of what's going on in my mind. And how beautiful is that? Because that means that I can change my thoughts and I can change my patterns, which means that I can change my health, right? Okay. So this is again a very interesting topic where people have found that there is a specific type of personality which is a cancer personality. I mean, again, not to scare you, but they found these common traits in people who have gone to develop cancer. Okay, so there are these very specific psychological and emotional traits that they show. So the first one is suppression of anger and this need to please others. Okay, so they're constantly just uh, pleasing people. There's this need to please, probably a people pleaser, and at the same time, when I am angry, I am suppressing it, I'm not expressing it, because somewhere down the line I've learned that anger is not okay, that I need to suppress my anger, and that expressing anger makes me a bad person or anything on those lines. Okay, the second one being self neglect and emotional inhibition. Again, when I'm not able to allow myself to feel emotions, I'm inhibiting my emotions, I'm suppressing it, I'm numbing it with different things. And self neglect, where I'm putting everyone else first and I'm not really taking care of my needs, my wants, my desires. I'm just kind of neglecting myself and, putting everyone else first. The third one being chronic stress. Of course, stress is the root cause of everything, right? The stress puts the body in this very um very unhealthy mode where the body is not able to do its normal process. It's just hyper focused on keeping you alive, right? Keeping you safe and keeping you alive, and it's not able to do any of the other processes like digestion, immune system fighting, nothing. It's just focused on survival. So and stress is a big part of what we talk about, because because everything comes down to stress, right? The more you are triggering your stress response and your fight and flight response without being able to also have some sort of relaxation, the more you will be prone to diseases, issues, body being unwell, all of that. Okay. So it's these three, but also it's not just these three. If you have these three along with this deep seated resentment, okay, so with some level of deep um, hatred or resentment about something that happened in the past, and you've not been able to let it go, you've not been able to release it and get out of it, that is when it starts kind of showing up. Okay, so resentment is, is what is something that we usually refer to as poison, right? It's slow poison, and it's killing your cells slowly, one by one. And resentment is usually at someone who's done us some wrong, right? So we're not able to forgive that person, and we're so resentful about them, and we hold on to that resentment and that hatred. How did he do this to me? How could he do this to me? Thinking that holding on to this resentment is what is going to get us some sort of revenge or some sort of justice, but it's actually eating at ourselves, right? It's like swallowing poison and expecting someone else to die, right? They have probably no idea that you're angry, that you're resentful, and you are carrying that resentment day in and day out, and it's eating at your cells. Okay, so that is when cancer starts showing up. There's also different types of cancer which have different corresponding patterns. So one of the most common ones, which is breast cancer, is associated with over nurturing people. Okay, so the breast, which is symbolic of my ability to nurture and my ability to mother, right? And when it's too much, when I'm over nurturing, I'm over providing for people, I am putting everyone else above myself, that is when the breast will start showing issues. And if all of these other factors are present as well, then it goes into something like a breast cancer. Okay, again, the point of this is not to scare you. It's not to tell you that if you're feeling all of this, you're going to develop cancer. No, it doesn't work that way. But the point is just to let you know that emotions deeply, deeply affect the immune system and the body, and we want to learn to process things and not kind of suppress them. Okay, so this is where psychoneuroimmunology and psychosomatics and epigenetics come into play, where we discuss the science of how emotions are actually impacting my immune system, my body, how stress is impacting my body and my immune system, and what can I do to induce relaxation responses so that my body is not going into that extreme mode of illness, right? It's okay to have all of this, as long as you're also having some mechanism where you're allowing yourself to relax, where you're allowing yourself to process things, to vent, to deal with your emotions, right? No, the idea is not that I'm going to be perfect, right? Mentally, emotionally, I'm going to be just very perfect, very positive, all sorted, all clear. No, that's never going to be possible. But what we can do is to learn to regulate and process emotions, right? To work through emotions, to learn simple tools and techniques to manage stress. And the most important thing, the easiest thing is to add preventative factors like connection, like movement, like a good diet, like all of the other things that we discuss in the preventative medicine section, in our lifestyles, so that we are not letting stress take a big toll on our life, right? So it's like a balancing it out. I have stress, I will continue to have stress, because life is going to move on. It's going to keep coming, with work, with relationships, and it's going to keep happening. But at least I can add some sort of a preventative factor, that balances out a little bit so that I'm not completely taken aback, and my body just not does not completely give in to the stress, right? And we want to learn easy techniques that induce the relaxation response, right? And one of these that I can very quickly and very easily mention is a cold shower. It's the easiest thing to do, and it is so brilliant. It is so powerful. It stimulates the vagus nerve, and it just induces this relaxation response. And this is my go-to thing. Anytime I'm anxious, I'll just go take a cold shower. It's the easiest thing to do. I don't have to use my brain too much. Just go take a cold shower, and just completely relaxes me, puts me at ease. Yeah. And also, most more importantly, we also want to reframe our beliefs about healing power and health, right? And this is something that's a longer journey that takes a little more time to do than the other things, but it's far more beneficial to completely change your beliefs about health and healing and mind and body. Okay. So that is basically the crux of it, and the point is to take a holistic health approach, right? And with that, I want to come to the special offering that I have created for y'all, which is oh, sorry, we forgot a point. Okay, so it's also to use tools like meditation, visualization, EFT, which is emotional freedom technique, movement, and vagus nerve stimulation, which I just mentioned. Okay. Okay. With that, coming to the special offering that I have for y'all. So I have created this complete mind body connection course, which is a deep dive into all things mind and body, the science behind it, everything that we discussed, the language of the body, the A to Z understanding of what symptoms mean, the whole toolkit of what to do to induce relaxation response, um, and a lot of different guided processes where you are led through the activity. Okay. And the course includes 5 hours of video content, a downloadable workbook, guided meditations, which I just mentioned, things like body scan, things like releasing suppressed emotions, things like releasing anger from the body, and all those things. Okay. And of course, a special community access where you can talk to and network with people who are on the same journey as you, and a certificate of completion. So this is where we go deep into epigenetics, my favorite topic, the stress response, the science behind it, and also what to actually do about it, right? Because we are not studying this to be academic professors, or to write a thesis. We want to know the science just to satisfy that logic inside us, but um, ultimately we need to learn practical tools on, okay, what do I actually do with this now? Okay, I understand that the hormones and all work this way, and the stress response work this way and that, but what do I do with it? So we go into that as well. What do I actually do with it, the practical side of it, psychoneuroimmunology, the head to toe decoding the body's language, which we had a glimpse of about the whole the body being a mirror, emotions and immune system, which is a big part of it, how emotions impact your body and your immune system, and a blueprint for well-being, where we go into preventative medicine and the whole toolkit, right? Because we don't want to deal with things when it's too late, when the body is shouting. We want to deal with it when it's whispering, or better yet, not even let it get there. Just live a healthy, vital, full life, right? So that is basically the offering. And of course, as a special gift for registering for this webinar, there is a special discount. So it's originally priced at 2,500 INR or $30. But as a discount, it is going to be available for $23 or 1999 INR when you use the code MindBody20. So when you check out, you can just use this code MindBody20, and it will automatically apply the discount. And of course, if there's any issue, you can always get in touch with me and let me know whatever technical issue you're facing, and we'll kind of sort that out. So that is about this webinar. I hope that you took away something from it. It inspired you to look at health differently, to look at the mind and body differently. And there was at least one little takeaway from it, and I would love to know what that takeaway was. So do mention it in the comments section. I would love to know that. And I hope you do sign up for this course, because it's really a beautiful course that gives you a whole idea of what this is, how can I use this, and how can I help not only myself but everyone around me, whether you are a psychologist, a physiotherapist, a doctor, a physician, a coach, or just someone who just wants to know about this, because I want to live a much healthier, happier life. So whatever it is, the course will definitely help in some way or the other. Okay. And with that, I just want to end with this one little quote that I really love, which is most psychologists treat the mind as disembodied. So a phenomenon with little or no connection to the physical body. And conversely, physicians treat the body with no regard to the mind or the emotions, right? But the mind and body are not separate, and we cannot treat one without the other. So, psychologists need to do a better job of considering and factoring in the physical body, and physicians need to do a better job of factoring in the mind while dealing with this beautiful system that is the mind body, not without a dash, without a separation. It's just mind body, right? It's one. Thank you for joining. I hope this was useful, this was helpful. Do comment your takeaway, and I will hopefully see you inside the course.